sir. There's nothing wrong with the people. They're the same crowd that fought the war. All they want is someone to make them take an interest in their own affairs. Anything wrong with that?
Nothing. Only I'm afraid you're in for a big disappointment.
Perhaps I am. I just believe in people, that's all. Seems a pity you don't.
We done a smashing bit in the harbour scheme. Like to see it?
Who's we? You and Nat?
Yeah, we're all Clarion, aren't we?
Oh, not me. Thanks, all the same.
She's still waiting.
Got eyes, haven't you?
You doing anything tonight?
Depends.
Well, there's a smashing film on down the El Dorado.
I know. Eddie took me.
Oh.
Oh, hello.
Could I have a word with you, Mr. Hearn, please? Privately.
Of course. Come to the office.
No stockings? I don't know what came over me, Mr. Hearn. Of course, we used to have parties in the WAF, but not like that, never. Drunk and incapable. Oh, son, so awful.
1 over the 8 sounds less sinful, doesn't it?
If it was just myself, it wouldn't matter. But it's Mum. She's dreadfully sick. She can't get out of her bed now. If she should hear about it...
Can't you prevent her?
Well, not if it's in the Clarion. She reads it from cover to cover.
Ah.
I don't know what it might do to her. Couldn't you skip it just this once?
Well, as a matter of fact, I had.
Oh, thank you. Thanks awfully. Oh, you are a dear.
Well, you can skip the thanks, too. I don't have the final say, you know.
Oh, it'll be all right. I know it will. Hello, Beryl. Oh.
I say, you better make yourself scarce. His lordship's on the way up.
Oh,
Out here. And down through the yard.
thanks a million.
Oh, and so to reap and mow and be a farmer's boy and be a farmer's boy.
Sound very gay.
So would you be if you'd been drinking ciders all afternoon with the young farmers.
Been the ruin of many a young girl. What a ghastly hat.
Yes, isn't it? But he went down big with the young farmers.
Has Burton brought my editorial up yet?
It's on the desk.
Looks a provocative sort of thing.
It's meant to be.
Why do you call a Maple Tree a restaurant instead of a cafe here?
Well, I had to. We haven't got any acute accents.
Well, tell Skinner to get some. And ask him to get some that slope the other way while he's about it.
Is my editorial on the harbour scheme all right?
That rubbish? I'm not going to print it. Don't know what came over you.
Well, we ought to put the other side of the question. I've been talking to some of the people who live down there.
Lot of troublemakers. Always got some grouse.
Well, they are citizens all the same. And Clarion readers.
I don't want to hear any more about it. The council had all the facts and they've come to their decisions. That's what we put them in for.
Well, isn't it a good idea to start people talking? To open our columns as a sort of, well, as a sort of forum for public opinion? That's what a paper's for, isn't it?
I think I know what a paper's for, Nathaniel. I've edited one for more than 30 years.
Exactly.
Thank you, Miss Thorpe.
But don't you see, Mr. Vane, the Clarion ought to have a positive policy.
I control the policy of this paper. And no one can say I haven't conducted a vigorous campaign for the welfare and moral tone of Tormouth. That reminds me. Miss Geldings told me of that shocking Hopper girl case. I hope you gave it full prominence.
Well, as a matter of fact, I left it out.
Have you gone off your head?
Well, she's only just out of the forces. Besides, her mother's a helpless invalid.
Then she should have stayed at home to look after her.
Perhaps, but that's no reason why we should pillory the poor girl. I think it's
I don't
crying...
care what you think. You are paid to write what I tell you. And it's high time someone made an example of the disgusting moral laxity of these ex-service people. The war's been made an excuse for every kind of license and debauchery.
Oh, for heaven's sake, stop that sanctimonious rot. If the girl were an advertiser, you'd burn before you printed a word against her.
How dare you?
Skip it. I'm sorry I raised the subject.
You, Miss Thorpe, you better go now.
Please go. We'll go into this in the morning, Nathaniel. With Gerald. That case, you printed every word of it. Main news page, you hear?
He's in a dreadful state. Sorry, but I just couldn't help it.
You're perfectly right. You've been perfectly right all along.
About Thomas, to me?
About me, anyway. And lost causes. I'm getting out.
Nat, where to? London?
I've got about £800 saved up. Would you risk it?
Are you asking my advice or my consent?
I'm asking you to marry me.
Nat.
I think the old boy would have been pleased with that spread.
I hope so. I'm sorry it had to happen the way that it did.
And with a heart like that, it was only a question of time.
Have you spoken to Gerald yet? About us?
Well, I hadn't the nerve. He was so upset. I shall have to see him through for a bit.
Well, yes, of course, but don't you think we ought to tell him he'll need time to find a substitute?
Come along, then. We'll go and see him together.
Clarion office? Secretary of what society? All right. Just hold on while I get a pencil, will you? Yes? All right, go ahead. Thomas, list.
Ah, that old man. Could I have a word with you?
The best love. I'm sorry, would you repeat that? Best love and most industrious.
Good morning, Mr. Vane.
Good morning, Mr. Hearn.
I think you know Mr. Thornton, our family solicitor. Take a pew, old man. Well, I don't quite know how to explain.
There's nothing to be ashamed of, Gerald. Tell Mr. Hearn exactly what Mr. Thornton said.
Yes, Mother. Well, the fact is, when my father's will was read, we found that he'd left practically nothing.
Nothing. Terribly sorry.
My husband speculated a good deal, Mr. Hearn. Seems he was badly advised.
Well, if it's that you want me to go, Gerald, you don't have to worry. As a matter of fact,
No, it's not that at all. Old man, I understand that you have some little money saved up.
Well, not very much, I'm afraid. Only about £800.
Oh, that's just about enough. You see, we...
Come to the point, Gerald.
Perhaps I had better explain. The suggestion is, Mr. Hearn, that you come into partnership with Mr. and Mrs. Vane.
Yes, that's just what we thought. What do you say, old man?
It's a bit sudden.
I'm sure Mr. Vane always liked your writing, Nathaniel.
Yes, and as editor of the Clarion, you'll have a vastly improved standing in the town.
You mean I'd have complete control of the paper?
Absolutely. I'd look after the printing side. Vane and Hearn.
we'll have to liven up the policy a bit.
Oh, I quite agree. That would be up to you. New ideas, and I'll get in new machines. No, not now, Miss Thorpe. I'm in conference.
No. I want Sally to hear about this. You see, we're going to be married.
Miss Thorpe? And you?
Well, could there be a more suitable argument for completing this little matter?
I don't quite understand. What little matter?
Well, Gerald and Mrs. Vane have offered me a partnership and a free hand as editor of the Clarion. What a wonderful chance.
Miss Thorpe, allow me to be the first to congratulate you.
Yes, congratulations indeed. I hope you like our little wedding present.
I'm sure it's all very satisfactory and so sensible.
So you've accepted?
Well, Sally...
Naturally, Mr. Hearn has accepted.
Excuse me.
Sally, what's up?
Nothing.
I didn't know they were going to make this offer.
You said we were going to leave Tormouth.
But this alters everything.
Certainly does.
Look here, Sally.
Let me go. I don't want to discuss it any further.
Oh, nonsense. Be reasonable.
I am being reasonable. You prefer Tormouth to me. Well, that's fine.
What are you talking about? Do you expect me to turn it down because a small town isn't good enough for you?
Oh, you know very well that isn't so. Marrying you and leaving here was going to be an adventure, a new life, a real life.
I don't understand.
There's very little that you do understand. You think you're going to do great things editing your silly little paper. Well, I don't. You're completely insensitive. You're wrapped up in yourself, and you always take the easiest way out of everything. Well, anyhow, I'm glad I found out before it was too late. Save a lot of trouble later on.
Sally.
Well, now that Mr. Hearn has joined the executive, I must ask you all to use a little more care when addressing him, particularly in front of customers. Christian names give a bad impression. I think that's about all. Oh, we have a great future before us. I shall be leaving for London this afternoon to see about the purchase of new machinery as part of our plan to progress and expand. I shan't be back until publishing day, but I know that I can rely on you all to cooperate loyally with Mr. Hearn on this week's issue. Any questions? Then to work on the new Clarion.
That? Trumbull, for heaven's sake, come to work in your best suit tomorrow. From now on, you're the assistant reporter on the Clarion.
Cool, whizzo. I haven't got a best one, though. My sister's had all my coupons.
Do what you can. You've a high tradition to live up to.
Yes, I know, Nat. I mean, Mr. Hearn.
Well?
Well, this reporting lark, take a bit of picking up, won't it?
It's a mere frame of mind, Trumbull. Mental pliability. That's your strong suit. You're all things to all men. A sorrowing friend at a funeral, a joyous well-wisher at a wedding. Detail, Trumbull. Detail. Never despise detail. It's our meat, drink, bread, butter, salt, pepper, and mustard. Who had the woolly stall at the Institute sale of work? Who won the three-legged race at the convent school sports? How much did we give to the Uganda mission last year? You must identify yourself with all and sundry, Trumbull. And when eventually you pass into the hands of Mr. Sleek, as pass inevitably you must, your successor on the Clarion will devote a whole column to your obituary in the paper which you once helped to fill. All right. But first, Trumbull, a clean handkerchief.
princess, our naughty roguey princess, the queen of hearts who will depart from castle and domain. But ring to our princess, for she returns our princess. It is time we pray she departs this way. Forever to remain.
O prodigal princess, whose beauty doth excel, you have stolen my heart with the magic of your spell.
Right, Rob?
Oh, come to us, princess, for we await you, princess, and you will see true hearts that beat with love and loyalty.
I thank you, lords and ladies, for your welcome.
Don't mention it.
Your loyalty is cheering to my heart.
We lovingly implore your royal highness.
Yes?
Never again to depart.
Prince Otto, I give you my hand. She gives him her hand. Love shall be our guiding star.
Now love has begun.
Our two hearts beat as one, melting into a kiss. To celebrate this happy day,
We'll hunt the stag.
so let's away.
I wouldn't mind being a fly on the wall when old Mark Gelding reads that packet. Listen to it. Miss Gelding's singing might almost be described as shouting at the top of her voice. As the impulsive ingenue, she is sadly miscast. Indeed, we can truthfully say that people making noise in the street after a celebration have been fined 40 shillings while causing less distress to the musically minded.
Home truths never did nobody any harm. Same with this here letter he's printing about Beans' housing scheme. That'll make him sit up.
You reckon he's plain daft? What does he want to do? Land us all in a libel suit?
Ah, come off it, Skinny. It's fair comment. Anyway, it's time somebody pushed the boat out.
Morning, Miss Cartwright.
Good morning. Come inside. Well, you haven't come to see me at this unearthly hour, I'm quite sure.
Well, as a matter of fact,
I thought not. You'll find my niece in the sitting room.